Hi, everyone. Welcome to our podcast, Don't Touch My Music. I am Chardonnay and I'm here with my co host, Kiana.
Hi.
And today we're going to be talking about copyright and music. So, we just want to give a little disclaimer. I'm going to let Kiki give you guys a little disclaimer before we get into the things.
Okay, so we have three very specific disclaimers to make here
Yeah.
and one apology.
Mm,
First,
yeah.
the apology. We didn't release a video
Yeah.
last Monday
Yes.
because we didn't like the video. I don't
Yeah. We
know.
weren't satisfied.
Yeah, we didn't like it. We recorded the shit, we edited the shit, we watched it over, and then we were like, this
Nah.
sucks.
Yeah. No.
So anyway, that's that. Our bad. It'll probably happen again somewhere along the line, and we'll apologize
Mm,
again.
yeah.
Um, so disclaimer numero uno. Uh, we have notes on the side. So for people that are watching YouTube, if you glance to the side, if you see us
Yeah.
glance to the side, we're looking at notes on other
Yes.
screens.
I will be looking at this way and Kiki will be looking down. Yeah, because we have the notes on the screen because we want to tell you these things as accurate as possible. Um, and yeah, we're gonna be looking.
Yeah, as I say, this is not an exam. We're not trying to memorize things. We're just trying to share
Yeah.
knowledge. Disclaimer number two: we're not lawyers.
Hmm.
So this isn't legal advice by any means. It's,
Yeah.
again, as I said, just sharing knowledge. Um, it's part of the course that we took. So we know copyright things. We want to share copyright things. I wrote a whole thesis on copyright.
Yeah. Which I could
Um,
not do, but kudos to
I
Kiki for doing that.
I didn't say I had fun doing it. It was shit. um, but yeah, so we're not lawyers. So this isn't legal advice. Don't take it as that. Just take it as information you should know.
Yes,
Um,
information you should definitely know as an artist, independent artist, upcoming artist, even a
mm-hmm.
aspiring music business professional. This is stuff that you should know. Like this is the basic thing that you should know, which should actually be the first thing that you should know as well, because this is very important um, for artists when it comes to like their craft, their music.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So yeah,
It's it's the base of the entire
yeah,
music industry. So,
yeah,
and the final disclaimer is that some copyright law specifics vary from territory to territory, country to country, continent to continent.
yes,
But the general terms are similar everywhere. Um, so, yeah, just keep that in mind. Where we can, we will differentiate between Europe and the US, for example,
yeah,
because those are the two markets that we study the most and we know about the most.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, those are our disclaimers. I've disclaimed.
Yeah. So basically the first thing we're gonna get into is what is music copyright? So music copyright is basically the designation of legal ownership of a song, composition, or sound recording.
Mm-hmm.
And there are two types of copyrights. There is composition copyright and there is sound recording copyright, which is essentially the master.
Mm-hmm.
And what composition copyright consists of is mainly the musical composition. So it's the arrangement, the notes, the chords, the rhythm, the harmonies, the lyrics, and that is referred to as the musical work, the song, or the musical composition. Like I said, just a while ago. And essentially, the copyright is held by the songwriters, the lyricists, and the composers. And composition copyright is managed and or exploited by music publishers.
I like the
So
dramatic pause there for the and
yes,
or. Shirley
yes.
said
So
it can be both. Okay.
both, yes, yes. Okay, so that is composition copyright. I'll let Kiki explain sound recording copyright, which is the master.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so sound recording copyright is basically everything that you can hear in a song. So whether it's the instruments, the voice, the spoken word, whatever it may be, as long as it is fixed to a tangible medium like a CD or a cassette or a digital file, it is considered a sound recording, and it's covered by the sound recording copyright. But sound recording copyright is typically held by recording and or performing artists, and those rights are exploited and or managed by record labels. However, I would like to highlight that it is possible for a songwriter to also be the performing or recording artist, in which case they then own both sets of copyright, so the composition copyright and the sound recording or master copyright. But the music industry treats both of those elements as separate things, so the artist would essentially become two different entities. So if it was Chardonnay, for example, it would be Chardonnay, the songwriter, and Chardonnay, the performing artist. That is how the music industry would refer to him as, if he were both the songwriter and the performing artist, which Chardonnay is.
I cannot. So how do you know that your shit is copyright protected? Let's start off first with the composition. With composition copyright, it's automatically created when music or lyrics are recorded, put on paper or written down, in a document of any kind. So it can actually be on a tissue. You wrote lyrics or even a poem or something. It's copyrighted because you wrote it down, you created, it's yours. So that's the composition. So now the sound recording copyright is created as soon as the sound is captured in a medium that can be reproduced or communicated. For example, like a digital track where you can share it with others or play it from your little computer. A disc that you could just shove in the computer or your like DVD player if people use those things, or even like a little cassette tape that you would shove into your radio or whatever and play the music. So guys, to summarize once again, you know that your music is copyright protected in terms of composition once it has been written on a piece of paper or even a napkin, because you wrote it and it belongs to you. You came up with it and you just wrote it in your book on a piece of paper or on a napkin. And for the sound recording, once it can be captured in a medium that can be reproduced or communicated, it is copyright protected because it is on a disc or a tape or a
computer
CD, or it's on a computer or whatever. Okay, guys, you got that down packed? Okay, you wrote it down? Great. Next one. Yeah,
you wrote it down.
You wrote it down.
And then there are some important rules for you to know when it comes to copyright. And the first and most important one is that your stuff is only copyright protected if it's original content.
Yes. If you haven't taken it from anyone else, it belongs to you solely, that you thought of this in your mind, okay? Without having influence of anything else or using anyone else's words, okay? Or using anyone else's melody, harmony, okay? It solely belongs to you. You created it. It's original. It's authentic.
Yeah.
It's never been heard before or written before. You made this shit up.
Say the things.
Like just now, okay? That's original.
Exactly.
Next one, Kiki.
Charlie said, okay, I drilled it in.
I had to clarify that, you know?
Yeah.
So
so it also has to be on a tangible medium. So again, sheet music, digital music files, analog recordings, digital recordings, sheet of paper, your computer notes. All of the above are valid. And then one more thing that we thought was important to mention is that in America, it is advisable for you to register your copyright, because then you're granted protection and enforcement to the full extent of the law over there, those sites.
Hmm.
Because if you don't register, then it's only partially protected and you don't get
Yes.
all the benefits that you would get if it were
Yeah.
protected. I mean, if it were registered.
Yeah.
So register the things if you are a US based musician or artist. Um, but in the EU or in Europe in general, you don't have to register your things. You are just protected by law fully. It's going to be enforced fully. So, next, we're gonna go into the 6 exclusive rights that you are granted as a copyright holder. So, whether you're a composer or lyricist, whatever, or a recording artist, performing artist, whatever, these are your rights that then get exploited. And in return, you get money in the form of royalties because
Period.
because for these rights to be exploited, people have to license the shit. So I'm gonna go into the first three, and then Chardonnay
Yeah.
is gonna do the next three.
Yeah.
So your first one is that you have the right to reproduce your work, and what that means is that you can print CDs or vinyl with your music on it, and you can make it all publicly available on music streaming platforms. So your Spotify, your Apple Music, your Tidal, your wherever is your preference, really. Um, the second one is that you can make derivatives of your own work. And in simple terms, what derivatives means is generally remixes and covers when it comes to recorded music. And for compositions and whatnot, it can mean ad placements, movie placements, um, game placements, but that's what it means by derivatives of your work. The third exclusive right that I'm going to talk about is that you have the right to distribute your work, which, in short, in simple terms, means that you have the right to sell your shit. And how that's most commonly done these days because of streaming platforms and all of that, it's via streaming payouts. So the money that you get for putting your stuff on streaming platforms, it's considered a sale, basically.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then if you are a composer or a songwriter or whatever, it's selling your lyrics, selling sheet music, and all of that jazz.
Yeah. And then the fourth one would be performing the work publicly. This is any kind of audio broadcast in a public space, even if it's performed, at live shows, performances, if it's music playing in a public space, if it's broadcasted on the TV or audio streaming. And this is referred to as neighboring rights. For recording and performing artists in most countries, except America, because neighboring rights does not exist in the United States. So that,
Boo. That's so fucking rude.
yeah, no, like literally.
Yeah.
Um, and then the fifth one would be the display of the work. So this is more applicable when it comes to like visual stuff. So it comes into play like when you have lyrics that you want to display on, for example, a streaming platform, or even printed lyrics as well. So if you print the lyrics and you want to give them out, show them, sell them, whatever.
Yeah, put them in the CD booklets.
Right. It also applies there. And the sixth one would be to perform the work digitally. This is specific to America, also to recording music. The purpose is to balance out the lack of neighboring rights when it comes to digital radio. The function is similar to neighboring rights, but it only applies to online radio platforms like Pandora. I think it sucks that America don't have neighboring rights.
Listen, listen. But also, you know what sucks even more? Even with
I know
this
what you're
form
gonna
of
say.
exploitation
The moral
is
rights.
no,
Right?
no, no, no.
Oh,
With this form of exploitation,
well,
they still can't make money off of regular radio play. Only digital. So like even with the right to perform the work digitally,
yeah.
because since they don't have neighboring rights, they don't make money off of radio spins. They make
Ooh.
charts, but they don't make any
Oh
money.
yeah, yeah.
They don't make any money unless they
No.
are the songwriter. That's the only way. If
Yeah.
they are both the singer and the songwriter, that's the only way that they make money off of like traditional radio play. Without that composition copyright,
Mm-hmm.
tough shit.
Yeah.
Digital radio is your only hope in terms of radio play,
Mm-hmm.
which sucks ass if you ask me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's why I went boo earlier because
Yeah.
it's so fucked
It's
up.
yeah. I think it's fucked up that the US does not have neighboring rights, but also moral rights. I feel like moral rights is just so like I don't have a say in my own music, like morally, like
Yeah.
ethically, like like it's crazy because it's like I know like in Europe, I know
Mm,
specifically in the Netherlands, like if you license your song to someone and they wanna, for instance, put it in a movie that is
mm.
full of like violence and stuff like that,
Yeah, you
like
can
you
be
have the
like,
right to say no, I don't
yeah,
want my song associated with violence.
yeah,
But in the US, like if they bought the license and they want to put it in these criminal movies, you can't say nothing because like they
yeah,
bought it, they paid for it, and they're gonna put it in.
yeah.
That's crazy.
It's the reason why politicians can just use whatever the fuck they want in their campaigns.
Yeah, that is
But
crazy.
I mean, you can say no, and they'll typically stop because you can just send them a cease and desist, and they will. But it's
That
like the
too.
fact
Yeah.
that you have to go, like, you have to bend over
Right. I was just
backwards
about to
just to
say.
be like, can you stop
Right.
using my fucking song for something that I don't condone? Like,
Exactly. The fact that you have to go through all of that. No, I just want to have my moral rights and say, no, I don't want my music a part of whatever. Can you
mm-hmm.
please remove it? Simple. That's that. But to go through all of those things, I feel like it's a mission. But copyright itself, it's a very complex topic, because
Yeah,
there are
they're,
so much parts to it, and it's sometimes difficult to understand when you're just like in the beginning phases.
yeah,
Um, but what we provided you guys with thus far are the basics,
it's the
for you to
foundation.
know. Yeah, it's the foundation. It's basically the foundation that you should know. And this is just a layer to many more
Yeah,
layers.
yeah, yeah.
um,
As I kind of briefly stated in the beginning, um, every single entity in the music industry is there to exploit one of these 6 forms of exclusive
yes,
rights that you have
yes.
as a copyright holder for your music.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So the reason why we decided that this should be the first episode is because you you need to have that foundation to understand how record labels work, how publishers work, how streaming services work, how aggregators work. It's literally the start of the
Yeah.
whole thing. As Chardonnay said, this is the first layer to many layers. And moving forward, we're gonna tackle one thing at a time. So next week, it's either gonna be publishers or record labels. We haven't decided yet, but
Yeah.
we'll spend an episode talking about that. And how they exploit copyright over there and how they function and what they do, what they're for. We'll name some, we'll, discuss all the things. This is just like a little episode to set the things up properly.
Yes. Yes. Definitely.
As Chardonnay was saying, there are, of course, more elements to copyright and just law in the music industry in general. But those are very specific to particular entities or people that have very specific functions within the industry. So we're not going to get into those because otherwise we'll never get out of those. And
Mm-hmm.
if you would like to get into those little specific things and you want an easy read and an easy to navigate space, then I really recommend you check out Reverb Nation's Music Law 101 blog because it's super easy to read. They're pretty concise and they keep it short. But yeah, I really recommend it. It's dope. And
Nice.
then, as promised, we'll put our sources if you would like to go read for yourself. We'll put our sources in a Google Doc in our link tree, which is on our social media accounts, which we say at the end of every episode, and is
Yeah.
also in the description.
Yes.
I hope that was clear and concise.
Yeah, and if it wasn't clear for you guys, just listen to this episode once more from the beginning to this point, and just note it down. It's I know that listening to us it might be like, okay, what are they talking about? But if you note it down and look at it visually, it'll help so much more.
Mm-hmm.
Because when we were in uh while doing our studies, they literally had to like draw it out for us on the whiteboards, like with
Yeah.
graphs and certain things. So I mean, visually it helps. So if you need to do that, just listen to this episode once more and just write it down and kind of paint a picture visually, to kind of understand it a bit more better, because this is the easiest way that we can explain this to you guys. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's that. So guys, now we're gonna go into our other segment where we do a little bit of chit chat, but mainly I asked Kiki what are her two favorite songs for the week, and she asked me what are my two favorite songs for the week, and we give each other like a question,
Because we're
and
nosy.
yeah, I mean, the questions are also fun as well. So
Yeah.
okay, so
What are your two songs?
my first song, which is my favorite for this week that I've been listening to over and over, is Oga by Yemi Alade. Listen, Yemi,
Yummy.
you are that
Yummy.
girl. Like, Yemi, your music slaps. Like, your music is
Yummy.
fire.
I have my
Yemi.
eyes are watering. Yummy.
Oga by Yemi Alade is yeah, my favorite song for the week. That's my number one favorite song. What's your first favorite song for the week?
So my favorite song of the week for today is called Bad Bad by
Hmm.
a Japanese hip hop artist called A Witch.
Okay.
Yeah, it's very groovy. Like, I don't know how else to describe it. It's just like really groovy and it's kind of upbeat and it just feels nice in your ear holes. um, yeah, man, it's just a dope track. I don't
Okay.
know.
Okay. I have to check it out. Kiki always lists songs that I don't know about. I would also have to check them out. You know, it's so crazy. You would list songs that I don't know about, but I would always list songs that you kind of know, or even artists that you kind of know. Cause
Yeah,
like
it's mostly artists that I know, but you pick
yeah,
like B sides often. So sometimes they're not
yeah,
tracks that I know because a lot of the artists that you list, I listen to their singles,
mm,
not necessarily the
yeah,
whole thing.
whole
Except
album, yeah,
Yemi.
yeah, no, yummy. My second song is "Burum Burum" by Nyla Blackman. We have
Nyla.
Nyla for the second time. Nyla, because my first
Nyla.
the following Monday, when we started, not the following Monday, well, you know what I mean, the Mondays
Yeah.
when we discuss, Nyla was actually one of my picks, right?
She was.
Yeah, I think yeah, she was one of my picks. So Nyla is just that girl. So my two favorite songs for the week is Oga by Yemi Alade and Budum Budum by Nyla Blackman. What is your second song?
My second song is Ocean by Asha. She's a
Okay.
Franco Nigerian singer. It's an
Mm-hmm.
Afro pop track, super chill, super wavy, super dope. Check out her new album because it's so good. I was listening to it just today, like all
Wow.
the way through, um, because it's a fire and Asha's dope. It's spelled ASA, by the way. So Asha, Ocean, and Bad Bad, A Witch. Those are my two songs, man.
Yes. Okay. So Kiki and I already listed our two songs. Now I'm
Mm-hmm.
gonna ask Kiki a question. My question for you this week, Kiki, is
Yes.
if you were offered a recording contract
Mm-hmm.
to be a manufactured artist,
Mm-hmm.
would you take it? So let's say you're just somewhere at a restaurant, I don't know, wherever you are, girl, someone approaches you, a
Mm-hmm.
music executive,
Mm-hmm.
and says, you know, you have the look to be an artist. You don't need to sing. You could just need to hold like a little sound, a little tune, and we'll just fix your vocals on everything. We'll build your image. We'll market you. Would you take it?
See, so the thing is, right? First, I'd be like, "Oh my god, thank you. I'm so flattered."
Yeah.
But then I'd be like, "Fuck no." there
Why?
there is no way. Um I wouldn't be able to live a lie like that. That's such
She
a
said
deep
it's a. She
that's
said it's
such
a
a
lie.
yeah, that's such a deep web of lies for me to live
Yeah.
in because I know I can't sing. My close friends and
Mm,
family know I can't sing.
mm.
And then
But they
there I
better
am
put
on
like auto tune on your
stage.
voice, like fix
No,
it
but
up.
then I'm there performing on stage pretending like I can
It's
sing
gonna
when I
be.
can't fucking sing. Then I
It's
have to
gonna be a
like
playback.
exactly. Then I have to like lip sync the whole time, and then I'm there. No, it's too.
So
It's
that would
such a.
be
It's too much of a deep web of lies. Like I'm sure that the money would be good, but like
yes.
I don't want to live like that. It is. First of all, it's too much pressure. Second of all,
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I'm the type of person that would deal well with the kind of fame that comes with being a musician.
Hmm.
Because musician type of fame is very different from actor type of fame,
Oh
and
yeah.
very different from model type of fame. It's
Oh
just a different
yes.
type
It's just a
of.
different
It's a
type.
different brand. It's a different
Yeah.
breed, and I don't think I'd be able to cope with it. Um, and also, I cuss so much. I'm sure they don't want that shit.
Girl, you find Adele cuss all the time. Like hello.
True. I love Adele. She's so cool.
And Adele sings these kind of soft ass music, but this bitch could cuss.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
but she can also sing, so I would just be a cussing lie. It would never
yeah,
ever
yeah.
work for me. But
Yeah.
that's my answer.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
What's your question for me
my
now?
question for you is similar but more simple.
Okay. Okay.
Um, because you yourself are already a musician
Mm-hmm.
artist.
Mm-hmm.
Um, if a major label were to
Mm-hmm.
come to you and be like,
Mm-hmm.
Chardonnay, my pen just tapped the microphone stand.
Mm-hmm.
That's what that was. My
Mm-hmm.
what? Chardonnay. That's what I was trying to say. Chardonnay, we've heard your music, we've heard your voice. We want to give you a deal. Hop on our label, be part of our team. Sign up for this shit. Would you do it? Would you do it if they offered you a contract? A contract, standard label contract.
Hmm.
Would you sign the contract? Would you sign on with that major label? Would you be like,
Well,
okay, I'm in?
I need to run it by my lawyers first. You know,
Chardonnay
because I
said they need to
mean,
read the fine print.
I need to read a fine print, but I also need to see if you're going to put me in debt. Because if
Exactly.
you're giving me an advance, how much, like, do I have to pay this advance in full? Do I have to pay it half? Is there a percentage on it? Like, what? Because I don't want to be in debt.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I need to look at the budgets that you have in place for my career in terms of like my marketing budget, my music video budget, my merchandise budget, whatever it is that you're putting in place on this contract. How much is it? And if I need to pay everything back, and how will I be paying everything back? Will it be from my sales, from my music? Will it be from my annual or monthly revenue, whatever? I need to look at those stuff first in order for me to
Mm-hmm.
say yes. I would definitely sign a deal with a label, but on those, terms that are reasonable
Mm-hmm.
for me, that
Mm-hmm.
would not put me in debt, and stuff
Mm-hmm.
that is appropriate,
Mm-hmm.
so yes, I would definitely sign a deal, but not one that would put me in debt, whereas the label is just spending like massive money on me, and then I have to pay this out of my sales from my
Mm-hmm.
music or out of
Mm-hmm.
my revenue, because then it's going to be like I'm not actually making money, you know
Yeah. Yeah.
only maybe from my shows, but I mean, that's just shows, I mean, what about everything else, such as like
Yeah.
um maybe my merchandise or like streams. Okay, even though you don't make much money from streams, but like my streams or like my sales, like physical sales or whatever. Well, we still don't do kind of physical sales, but like digital sales.
Yeah.
Mm. Oh my god, the music industry is just becoming like so.
Digital.
Yeah, but also like, where's the money? Like, you know,
Yeah.
like for our artists to make our money. But anyway, I don't want to get too deep, but I would definitely sign it. But yeah, I would have to check those things first. I don't want anything to put me in debt. And I don't want you to be spending massive amount of money on me if I just have to pay all of this out of my um sales of my music or even my annual revenue.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, you can give me an advance and you can put some budget into like the marketing and stuff like that, and it's fine for me to pay back, but not any ridiculous amount. Like,
Yeah.
no.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was our episode for today, guys. We just wanted you guys to know a little bit about copyright, the basics, the foundation. And yeah,
Again, if anything that we said was unclear, you can also ask us on
yeah,
our
definitely.
Instagram. Hop in the DMs, ask the questions, and we'll do our best to answer them. And if we can't answer them, we'll navigate you to a resource that can. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, turn on post notifications, share. Um, if you're listening on Spotify or Anchor, if you're listening on Spotify or Anchor, make sure to rate the podcast, follow the
Yes.
podcast. If you're
Yes.
on Anchor specifically, leave a comment.
Yeah.
Um, don't forget to follow the podcast on our social media platforms. So
Mm-hmm.
it's at Don't Touch My Music Pod on Instagram and TikTok. If you're listening on Spotify and Anchor, subscribe on YouTube. Don't Touch My Music. If you're on YouTube, go follow the podcast on Spotify and Anchor. If you are Apple Podcasts, they don't want us on their platform, so I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah.
I made that up, and I'm only making that up because they're making it very difficult for me to get the podcast on there. I still haven't figured it out, and I'm tired of trying at this point.
Yeah.
So we'll get there when we get there.
Mm-hmm.
But for now, you can just check us out on YouTube or whatever,
Mm,
or
yeah.
Anchor or whatever.
So we see you guys on our Thursday episode. Okay.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.